This is a podcast from soof.co.uk. Hello, I'm Patrick Downs. This is all about film, whether it be Blu-ray, DVD or streaming. This is Bring the Film. From Jurassic World architect and director COLIN TREVORROW, Dominion takes place 4 years after the Isla Nublar has been destroyed. Dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on the planet they now share with history's most fearsome creatures.
How are your kids?
Amazing. Grown. It's shocking. They're both in college. Can you believe that?
And Mark?
It's over.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I'm back to me, my work. You know,
That's great.
it's good. It is. I'm alone at last.
Exciting times.
Yeah, I'm living the Alan Grant life. It's just
Can be lonely.
so free.
Allie, you didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
Directed by COLIN TREVORROW, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill and Dewanda Wise. Our correspondent Faye Clearly caught up with Jeff Goldblum and Mamoudou Athie and asked Jeff about how he was to be back alongside Sam Neill and Laura Dern.
I celebrate every day the greatness of Laura Dern and Sam Neill, and the rare, lucky, ensemble that we made 30 years ago in a movie that was unforgettable to me, a creative experience with them and with the great Steven Spielberg that was unforgettable, transformational and unforgettable. And now, if somebody had told me back then, 30 years from here, they're going to be talking to Faye McCleary and about this thing. So unbelievable. And we were nostalgic and sweet, and we sang and we improvised. It was great. And then to be mixed up with the glorious Mamoudou Athie. It's true. And the rest of the cast, He and I have, if you haven't seen the movie, you and I, lucky for me, have, I think so, have several moments and scenes and even a backstory
we got
that
a
connects
whole
us.
history, man.
Yes, we're partners. We're a team.
And what was that like for you? It must have been incredible.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I'm sitting next to him now, and we're gonna have a lot of laughs, and I'm gonna make fun of him a little bit. But honestly, it was a real treat. I mean, I admired all three of these actors since I was a kid, and Jeff, we went to the same school.
The William Esper School of Acting, yes.
Yeah, and I saw him as a kind of model of this is also a leading man. Somebody who's highly individual and also just interesting in their own right, but also can lead a movie. And I took a lot of inspiration from that. So thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate it so much. There's so much we need to talk about that William Esper training, which is the Sanford Meisner training. Mm-hmm. It's very particular, and those who have studied it are passionate about it, and it did something to them. But I'm just thinking, you are something. No, if you've seen his past work, The Front Runner and Uncorked, which I saw, you are every bit of a talk about leading man.
That's very kind of you.
And
thank you, Jeff.
Person of deep emotional gifts and substance and wit and charm. That's in my humble opinion.
That's very kind. And am I right in thinking that during this set and during the filming, you all stayed in the hotel together because of COVID protocols? But that must have been great team bonding.
Yes.
Yes.
It was. We were in the same. It was COLIN TREVORROW who suggested it. I remember a call.
He's
shortly.
to blame. No. No, go ahead.
He's our great director. He made a heck of a crackerjack movie, I believe. Yeah. Which is no small time. He's the architect of these three world movies. Wow. He wrote and directed the first one and wrote the second one, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. He said that on the phone call, we said, maybe we'll live around Pinewood Studios where we're going to make it because it's a British show, this show, with the big crew members and big British crew who were great. He said, we could live in houses around there, or we could all stay at this hotel that I know of that they've sussed. I think we should do that because on weekends we could get together and rehearse. We could really not only bond with each other, but make it useful, creative bonding. And that's what we did. So it was not only delightful and forever bonding. We talk to each other all the time, but but it was useful, and it was a heck of a creative experience.
Yeah, I like that word, useful. It was.
Right? Yeah. It was fruitful. We'd get together on a Sunday. He'd schedule every hour, on the hour, a very focused and serious rehearsal session. And even though Emily Carmichael and he had written a great script, we'd go over the next week's scenes.
Yeah.
And he was so sweet and collaborative. He'd say, hey, you know the character is better than I do, and
you know
Mamoudou, what do you want to do?
I mean, honestly, it was the most collaborative process I've ever had on, I think, anything, which is insane.
He was smart. He was talented, very sweet and generous, but I think it was for the good of the thing. And we got something out of it because he had taste. And I came in, I said, how about that? He went, no. What if I say that? No. I go, okay, good. It tickled me, but I'm glad I wanted to say it one time before it got discarded. And
well, you got that one thing in there.
And then he said, oh, but how about that thing that you're thinking of? And a couple of things, got in. Yeah. So it was, I loved it.
Directed by Colin Trevorrow, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, and Dewanda Wise. On our film correspondent Faye clearly caught up with Bryce Dallas Howard and Dewanda Wise and asked Bryce about how it felt to act alongside the legacy cast.
It's awesome getting to work in this franchise for many reasons, but the number one reason is because I love the people so much. Colin Trevorrow, the director, Chris Pratt, obviously, and then getting to come back and, now this time with the legacy cast, and then, working with Dewanda and Mamoudou and Dewan, so many wonderful actors. So it feels just like a really like-minded group of people who would all gravitate toward one another in any other scenario. And the fact that we get to kind of lock arms and playing in this universe and all get to be in the sandbox together with it is really extraordinary.
And Dewanda, am I right in thinking that you had a bit of a say as to how your character's going to be defined? How was that to be a part of?
I like to say that I didn't know any better. I come from independent film, and I've always had a lot of agency, so it was a pleasant surprise for sure. I didn't expect that, in a blockbuster world, but Colin not only allowed the kind of play beforehand, I did a dialogue pass, but also just the improvisation on set too. There was just there was a ton of space and room to play, and I just feel overall it was just such a living, breathing organism, and really special to work with a director who had a firm grasp on what his vision was, so that one, we weren't wasting time. We weren't wasting film because we shot on film, and so that we then had the space to be oh, this thing is happening. Let's allow and make space for that too.
There were so many instances where it was we would do the scene, all this kind of stuff, and then Colin would be okay, let's just do one more take, Dewanda, whatever. Just do whatever. And that's always the take that's in the movie. I'm not exaggerating. She is so Dewanda is so much the voice of this character, it's you and your talent, and you're bringing a perspective to it. It's not it's you, Dewanda.
Yeah.
But you inhabited it in such an organic way that you were able to just be in character and just give those, quips and buttons, and it was just, it
so
killed
much fun.
It. It killed it.
Thank you.
You killed it.
So cool. Bryce, you mentioned the legacy cast. What was that actually like? Was it quite a surreal experience to see these people that are from the original Jurassic 30 years ago with you right there?
It was surreal to get to work with the legacy cast, the original cast of Jurassic Park, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, B.D. Wong. It was something that it's sort of we all in our own ways get nervous and starstruck and verklempt when we're around people that we admire, and it all comes off in different ways. But no one was casual about it. No one was oh, this is whatever, they're here. It was an event. And then on top of that, it was a masterclass in acting. There are 3 actors who are some of our greatest icons, and they're at the very top of their game. And so getting to see them not just be there and be the characters, but actually dig into what is happening right now with Dr. Ian Malcolm, what is happening right now with Dr. Ellie Sattler. It was so exciting and inspiring, and I was just like, I was just like a little like acting dork.
Yeah,
was it the same? Did it feel the same for you?
I mean, because we had these rehearsals on Sundays especially, and so we were really kind of open to each other's processes. You know, it wasn't like normally you kind of, especially in that format, you show up to set and you don't see the seams as much, so to speak. But you know, I'm like peeking in Jeff Goldblum's journal, like, look at all that. What are these? Are these your alts? Did you write them down? You know, it was a very special experience and completely atypical for sure.
And I've read that, Bryce, you wrote notes throughout the Jurassic World movies and you fed those back to the director. Was it quite nice to see that he'd taken on board some of the things you'd picked up on along the way?
Well, I mean, honestly, there were. What I would do is I would, when folks would have ideas or say things that they loved or that they kind of hoped for, I would just kind of like scribble it down, you know, and myself included. And I remember at the wrap party for Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, J.A. Bayona was like, Bryce, I was just like, so what do we want to see? What do we want to see for, like, you know, the follow up for this? And J.A. was like, can't you just rest for a moment? And so many people would say Blue having a baby and baby dinosaurs. I always, during Fallen Kingdom, I was like, there's only one baby dinosaur in this entire movie, you know? And so it was just something that was more kind of a collection of things, and I have no idea if ideas were influenced by that or not. Probably they were already happening. And so, you know, this is very much so Colin's vision and Emily Carmichael's vision for where the story was going to go ultimately. But I'm a big nerd, and it was really sweet when, like, one day Colin was like, hey, would you send me that, like, document you've been kind of building onto over the years?
How are your kids?
Amazing. Grown. It's shocking. They're both in college. Can you believe that?
And Mark?
It's over.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I'm back to me and my work. You know,
That's great.
it's good. It is. I'm alone at last.
Exciting times.
Yeah, I'm living the Alan Grant life. It's just
Can be lonely.
so free.
Allie, you didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
Directed by Colin Trevorrow, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill and Dewanda Wise. Well, our film correspondent Faye Clearly caught up with Colin Trevorrow to talk about the film and what it was like to bring the legacy cast back for this film.
It was, a combination of me trying not to be just a fan, holding it so tight in my hands that I couldn't really see outside of my own love for it, and just doing a job. And the job was to make sure that these characters felt like older versions of themselves, and with point of views that felt like the same characters that we knew and loved, and a dynamic that felt real still. And I really just focused on talking to these actors who know their characters better than anyone in the world, and asking them how they think that Alan and Ellie and Ian would feel, and we built from there.
And was that quite important to you to have their feedback and to have their input for this story?
It was crucial. I think they're authorities on their characters, and if you've been playing someone for almost 30 years, whether how much of that time was spent literally playing that person, Laura Dern is Ellie Sattler. For a lot of people, she always will be, and so they're just so personally invested and emotionally invested in making sure that we do it in a way that feels honest and doesn't wink too much and just feels like real people later in their lives.
And how fun was it to have those nods to the original Jurassic Park in this movie?
I think they managed, those nods find their way in one way or the other in all three. It was funny to watch J.A. Bayona in the second one have his own shot at doing it, because everyone will want to have some kind of reference here or there. On this one, I pushed back as hard as possible against it, and I actively tried not to do it because I knew naturally it was going to happen anyway, and sure enough.
Well, my favourite bit was when T-Rex came through with his head in the like round circle thing. Literally love that bit. Anyway, I'd love to know what it was like on set when the camera wasn't rolling, what the kind of atmosphere was like, whether it was very jovial or whether it was quite serious?
What we all knew, because we were in the middle of a pandemic, we were living together, so we knew each other well. So, no, it wasn't a stressful set, and because I think we were honestly all so happy to be working and looking around at all of our crew who could have been at home and not being able to take care of their families. Like it meant a lot to us that we were able to push forward, and so I think there was just a sense of relief that we were able to be there at all, and as a result of it, we managed to actually have fun.
And this film obviously explores and starts off with dinosaurs living amongst us. Would you ever like to live in a world? Because I know obviously you've got the big scary dinosaurs, but some of them are incredible to look at and see. Would you like to live in that world?
The way I approach this movie is that we already do live in that world, but with animals. And I didn't want to do anything or have a dinosaur do anything that an animal in our world wouldn't do. And that, to me, it's only like one step removed. Because there's animals that if you go into their habitat in the forest or the jungle, they will eat you. Like, we already live in it.
And why do you think fans should watch this particular movie in cinemas? For me, it's one that you need to hear and really experience. Do you think that's how this film should be experienced?
Absolutely. I mean, it's an immersive experience, and I also think that there is real value in people gathering together to watch drama as a group. We've been doing it for 2,000 years, and we shouldn't stop yet because it's an important part of our civilization. And so to bring a family, whether to our film, and please come see our film if you're interested, or if it's another film, go see movies with other people, because it's part of what makes us feel alive and know that we exist.
And finally, before I leave, this film, all over the world, favourite set. Tell me your favourite set, please.
My favourite set, it was here in the UK, but it was meant to be in Malta. It was an underground dinosaur market that when you see it in the film, you assume they must have gone somewhere to do this. That's on the Bond stage right here at Pinewood, one of the biggest sets ever built there next to that submarine from the Bond movie. That was a big one. But it was just extraordinary. They brought back all of this dust and dirt and rocks from Malta in order to make it exactly right. And we had, I think, 15 or so animatronics going at the same time and puppetry going on, and it was pretty awesome.
Jurassic World Dominion is available now. And with that, thanks for checking me out on the Bring the Film podcast today. I'm Patrick Downs, and you can keep in touch across Twitter at I'm Patrick Downs, also on Instagram or facebook.com/officialpoptart. And there's also the website soof.co.uk. This is a podcast from soof.co.uk.